Hi everyone, my name is Steph. This is the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing my December reset, which is where I reset my TBR for the month of December, as well as a few other little bits and pieces that I'll include at the end of the video. I would like to say that I could have some B-roll at the start of this video, but to be honest, I'm not going to be able to reset my apartment today. But we are going to talk about my reading in November. It is the 30th of November, so I only have one day left, so I feel okay about sharing my stats, which I just realized I forgot to write down, so pause please. I was really good last night. I filled in all of the bingo board from Hell stats and forgot to do my actual reading stats, which are 52 books and 11,093 pages for the month of November. I read a lot of shorter things this month because that's where my brain was. So if we're talking about my bingo board from Hell, which this is, we are moving into the final month for this, for 2024, my new board for 2025 is coming out this week, so stay tuned for that. I had already completed my 75 audiobook challenge, but I read 6 more audiobooks this month, so that takes my total up to 81. I had already completed my challenge of reading 75% of my pre-2024 physical TBR, but I am now at 77.7%. Small wins. My regular challenge to read 80% of my monthly TBR, I did hit. I did manage to read everything except for one book on my TBR for the month, so I get another star for that. Yay me. I'd already completed my 50 middle grade book challenge, but I did read 2 more, so I am now at 55 books total for the year, or middle fiction titles for the year. I just realized I've read some stats out of order. Anyway, the one that I missed was to read 80% of my 2024 physical TBR, which I did complete this month. I am now sitting at 85% read from this year's physical TBR, which that is a minor miracle. Let's all celebrate that because hallelujah. I'd already completed the challenge to finish or read first 12 then 18 series, so that's done. I had already completed my 20 non-fiction book challenge, but I did read 4 more, so I'm now sitting at 24 non-fiction books for the year, which is great. I did read 2 non-romance books this month, at least 2 non-romance books this month, so I got my 5th star for this one. And I had already completed my rare TBR, so we are plodding along beautifully. Really, all I need to do in December is read 2 non-romance books and to also read 80% of whatever the TBR is that I set this month. Then everything will be complete. I'm very excited about that. Like, it's just, that makes me happy. Alrighty, so let's jump into the TBR. The buzzword prompt for this month is a holiday themed word. And for this, I'm going to read Holly Jolly Rebel by Meader, which is in a collection of her hockey romance books that feature a new Christmas novella. So I'm going to read that one. I do have a couple of December priority reads for review. Most of, well, all of these are from NetGalley. I do have North is the Night by Emily Rath, which I will be reading. That comes out in December everywhere else in the world, and Australia in January. But I have both the international and the Australian review title on NetGalley for it, so I'm just going to read the one that comes out first. I also have Twist of Fate by Carly Lane as a NetGalley arc, and Sunastara and the Venusian by Jess K. Hardy. So I am going to read those 3. Now just to find where I put my annotation cards, because I rearranged this week. Or maybe that's what I could do. Maybe I can include a little bit of a tour of my new, how I've set up the TBR card. But anyway, I need to find the annotation cards because I don't remember where I put them. Alrighty, success. So which one are we going to go with? Let's mix them all up. Not that I know what they are because I can't even remember what I put on here. Let's go with this one. Let's get a coin. Coin, 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 coin. Does anyone else just sing to themselves while they're randomly doing things? Oh, this is a good one. This is a good annotation book for this month because I have been having the hardest time picking what to read. This book will be no hardship to reread this month. It is Role Playing by Cathy Yardley. So this is my copy. I have already page flagged it, but that means that this is a highlight and write annotation. I love this book so much. Maybe I save that for the end of the month because just like I did last year, I'm going to read the rest of the story on the last day of the year because I can already fill in all of my stats and everything for it, and it just makes my heart happy. I always end with a reread. Maybe the last couple of days of the year, I just back-to-back read my favorites from last year because I actually don't have any books from this year that live up to this or the rest of the story. Maybe I need to go get the rest of the story. Let's just do it. These 2. Second and last books of the year. Then we move to the KU project, which for this month is The Wingman by Stephanie Archer, which is part of her hockey romance series. So that's the oldest book on my KU checkout list. So we're going to add that to the list. Then we have to do Kindle Backlist, which I finally updated everything in here. Although I have been reading Kindle books, so there's a high chance that I will pull out something that I have already read. But you know what? Let's go with the green for Christmas. Not that these have Christmas books on them. I have no idea what's on any of these anymore, even though I just filled them in. There was no rhyme or reason to the colours chosen. Oh, I know some people who are going to be very happy with this. This is Her Vicious Beasts. So this is by E.P. Bali, and a lot of my friends have read and loved this. I'm not convinced I'm going to be one of them, but I am going to be reading it. You know who you are. Okay, and then the last official thing that's going on the TBR is going to be my kids and middle fiction choice. So let's bring up the spinner wheel. Let's go. Hopefully it's not one that I'm supposed to have taken off. Okay, it's Out of This World, which is... where? Oh, there it is. Out of This World by Sonya Spreen-Bates, which I picked up on my birthday bookshop crawl last year in 2023. So that is going onto the list as well. This is a really good list. Now, the other thing that I'm going to mention, I'm not saying that these books are officially on my TBR, but they are on my radar for the Queer Lit Readathon, which is taking place in the middle of the month. I basically went through my physical shelves and just pulled off all of the physical books I have that I know are queer titles. But before we say that, I am going to try and include a couple of following books, and you will find out a little bit later in the month why I've chosen these books. So the first one is Close Quarter by Zabo. The second one is What Are the Odds by R.M. Virtues. Then we have In the Middle of Somewhere by Roan, Parrish, and Unhallowed by Jordan Hawke. And then the physical books that I have that are queer authors that are just going to go in the basket. They're not things that I have to read, and two of them would be rereads anyway. So the rereads would be Waiting for the Flood and For Real by Alexis Hall. Waiting for the Flood has bonus content, which is kind of why I want to read it. Waiting for the Flood is actually probably like this much of the book, and this is the bonus content. For Real has just been re-released, and I'm kind of curious to reread it and then also read the annotations from the author. Those aren't super high priorities, but they are books that I would like to get to. What I would definitely like to read in that week, just because I think I will be excited to pick them up, are Bauer's The Grave Between Us and The Murder Between Us, and I can never remember which one goes first. I think it's this one, which are romantic suspense stories. The other one I would really, really like to read this month is Not Just Gal Pals by Elizabeth Luly, which is a sapphic romance and an Australian author, so I would really like to get to this one. I picked this up at a signing where I met her. And then the other one that is the potential is Looking for Group by Alexis Hall. But I'm just picking queer titles that I've either started or have been sitting on my TBR for a while. There is a bingo board. If I get a chance, I will branch out, but I think it's the last official week of the school year for me, so I may need to just go with comfort authors over trying to find other things this month. And that sounds absolutely terrible, and I hate that, but that just might be where my brain is. So that is that potential TBR for the Queer Lit Readathon. So I don't have to read those for my 80%, they're just potentials. I'll still have them on my list, and I will try and count them as the 80%, but I'm not guaranteeing that. But I have those and the Kate Meader book and the Wingman and my NetGalley stories as my official 80% TBR, and I'm very, very excited about that. So we will reset the TBR basket in a moment. I know I said that I would possibly include a overview of how I've reset up the TBR cart, but I think what I might actually do is save this for another video, because I have a couple of challenges that are going to be announced in the TBR bingo board video that actually relate to how I've set this up. So maybe I'll save it for then. That's what I might do. What I will have for you is setting up my December digital reading journal as well as my stats journal, which is over here now. I'll pop that footage in now. Otherwise, feel free to let me know what's on your December TBR. You may have noticed the lack of Christmas titles aside from A Holly Jolly Rebel, because I'm already in the middle of reading a bunch of Christmas romances. There's a video that is coming out that will talk all about those. If you just want to let me know that you're here but you don't leave a comment, feel free to leave your favorite seasonally appropriate emoji down below. Otherwise, I hope that wherever you're on the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, everyone.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and the sunset, it is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what we do. We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. Here we go. All right. Now this Christmas, we're gonna dance. We're gonna dance, 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 come on. Dance. We're gonna dance, dance, have a good time. Dance, dance, all night long. We're gonna dance, dance, and have a good time. I think Santa's gonna come and join us in this song. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling